So I want to talk about growth promoters for fast growth. As a business professor, I think I can talk about a large class of growth promoters from, things that are related to business, like business growth strategies, but then as well as things related to, maybe it's growing with different fertilizers and different sort of plant growth. And I think that this is a really important thing to sort of remember. So, by the way, if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massac. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I create this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. So, if you are thinking about growth, so what am I talking about here? This is when you're thinking about how do you go from one year to the next and actually have a little bit more the following year, or maybe it's in the next month to have a little bit more than what you had from the previous month. And that's all we're really talking about. And there is sort of two general classes that I would say that, that there's important sort of growth things, right? So one of them is growth hacks and thinking about ways that you can level up quickly, because that leveling up quickly is the way to get to wherever you want to go. And the other way is the slow and steady progress way. And I want to talk about these general classes because I think that they're really, really important. So the first one is that what you're trying to do is do something like put a fertilizer on, or if you're thinking about growth hacking, this little tiny widget of a thing that you do, you have the right button or whatever, and all of a sudden things start growing really quickly for your business. You've heard about these stories before. And now what is going on here is that a lot of these are just stories, and most of that stuff actually does not work. And the reason why I can almost uniformly say that that is the case, if they worked, then everybody would adopt those particular strategies. It would be a lot more quick adoption, and then there would be no advantage, right? That's the key thing. That's something that we actually teach quite readily within business, is that if there is something that is going to lead to a lot of people increasing their performance at particular something, and it's really easy to figure out, everybody is going to adopt that particular thing, and then you have no competitive advantage at all. So competitive advantage is a little edge up from somebody else, and that's all we're really talking about. So in general, those things don't work, right? You are not going to get there. And if they did, everybody would understand what these particular things are. And there's lots of things like that that are really sort of simple that we understand. As of growth promoting of business, let's say growth promoting of human beings, it's things like nutrition, right? Like really simple things like nutrition. So this kind of leads to the other sort of class, the sort of tried and true, the slow and steady game of growth promotion. Now, nobody wants to do that, right? That's the reason why you're watching this video, is you don't want to watch this, and you don't want to sort of put in the sort of time, right? So within this class, there's actually what is called trial and error learning, right? So what you do is you try something and then you see if it works. And if it works, then you reintroduce this thing. Now, that is very contextual to what you are and what you're about. And there is not a lot of quick wins. There's going to be a lot more times that you try something and it doesn't work, right? So you repeatedly try something and it just does not work. So in that case, though, however, every once in a while you do stumble across something that actually works really well. And you're like, hey, this works. For me, it works for, maybe you're a farmer and you're like, this actually works in this particular case. Or, if you're a business, you're thinking, hey, this actually works for my business. This actually sort of stepped up. And those things that are really about, the long-term growth, and it's very long-term, and it's a sort of step-by-step process. You're thinking about things that have a lot of substance to them, right? So the things that you've probably known about the whole time, and you're thinking, by the way, that licking, that's my puppy. They always come over and lick at the dog bowl every time I do one of these videos. Okay, so those things are tried and true, and you already know what those things are. So in a business, it would be things like culture, for example, where you are promoting, you're doing things that are promote the culture of the company, right? Like those are key things. You're thinking about actually helping out people and helping out customers, like really simple things. And those things are really hard to do. I know, I get it. Those things, all these things on this particular class are always really hard to do. And they're not easy. You never really know if they're actually working, all of those kind of things. But that sort of general class is what you're thinking about. Now, with human beings and sort of promoting growth with human beings, you got to think about what are the things that sort of increase nutrition for human beings, right? Getting your sort of general nutritional value. You're also thinking about things that maybe are going to push, human capacity every single day, just a little bit, like some really rigorous exercise, for example. All these are really simple things, but they're hard to implement. So this is the key thing to remember. All of these things are really simple. It's not like you're taking some hormone, human growth hormone, and all of a sudden everything sort of shoots up. And those things are going to lead to sort of problems if you do those in the long run. So the key thing is to do the sort of simplistic things that you understand already and do them well and to keep doing them. And so the key thing to remember, if you're doing this sort of long-term growth strategy, right? And whatever one you choose, I don't really care. But if you're choosing the long-term growth strategy, remember you're not gonna really see too much for a decade. And when you look back, then you're gonna see a remarkable change from that. Now, on the other side, right, with the sort of quick growth hacking stuff, what's gonna happen is for some people, for a very small group, say it's 1 out of 1,000, they're gonna have a spectacular result that we've never seen before, like just off the charts, right? It's gonna be spectacular. But for everybody else, they're not gonna get anywhere and it's gonna feel frustrating and they're not gonna know what to do. And so the only thing that you can possibly do is to keep taking those steps forward. So what you're gonna notice is you're going to try to do the sort of growth hacky kind of stuff that's quick wins and all of that. And then over time, you're going to gravitate towards the long term. This is slow and steady. We're going to keep doing these things if you're going to stay in the game. Or all those people that try that growth hacky things, they stop and leave, right? So you're going to see people's sort of perspective change early on in life. They're going to do a lot of growth hacky stuff, right? So when they're like 19, 20, there's going to be a lot of the bro culture, right? And it's mostly like bro culture, you know what I'm talking about. So they're going to be like trying to do all these quick little things and all that kind of stuff. And they're going to do it for 5 years and they're going to realize it doesn't work. And so they're going to default as you get older. You're going to default into, let's just do the tried and true, simple things. And then as you do that, you realize that, wow, this actually does work, the little step-by-step process. So I want you to remember that if you see it, if you see people doing the growth hacky things, just smile and you know what's going on. And then on the other side, the sort of long-term, slow and steady, give them a little bit of encouragement, particularly if they're younger or they're just starting out. Realize it does take a lot of time and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. And there's a lot to it, right? Like it feels like these people that are doing the growth hacky stuff are always winning and because they're promoting, right? All those people, it's like winning the lottery. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, and tell everybody that they won the lottery. But you're going to be doing this slow and steady day in and day out, and it's going to feel really boring and you're going to feel like you're getting nowhere. But over a decade, over 2 decades, you look back and you're like, wow, I actually did do something over my life. And once you've done it for about 2 decades, trust me, you actually start seeing some real gains that are substantial in all areas of your life, right? So just remember that. It's a decade, it's 2 decades. It's a long time by the time something actually starts popping for you if you're doing this sort of long-term growth stuff versus that hacking and doing all of those kind of things. Now, the reason why I'm pretty negative about growth hack stuff is because I tried them all, right? Like I've tried everything. And I've absolutely tried everything and they just don't work, right? For most people, they don't work. So for everybody else, it for the majority of the people, you're not going to get anywhere. But for the one person in this sort of class, they might have spectacular results, which is good on them, but they're hard to replicate. You can't sort of, redo it, all those kind of things. But the people that are doing this slow and steady trial and error over and over and over again, that's replicable. That means you can copy it. You can also keep doing it. And that sort of competitive advantage that you get actually lasts for a long time. So with that, give me a thumbs up, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.